Hey Frag fam, Corbin here again from Northwest Scent. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my top 5 gourmand fragrances. So if you do not know what a gourmand is, it's basically a fragrance that if you didn't know otherwise, you would think you're smelling some kind of dessert or like a fruity drink or something like that. Basically it smells so good that it actually does smell edible. So if you guys are interested in hearing about my top 5, please stick around. But first, let's roll that intro. All right, welcome back. So we're gonna hop straight into the list. I do have an honorable mention and you'll see why it is an honorable mention here in a second. So let's jump straight into it. So starting the list off at the honorable mention spot, this is a fragrance from Mugler and it's called Pure Tonka. Now these are actually kind of hard to smell, but I do have a spray on my wrist. Anyway, this is really a fantastic fragrance, like honestly. It has been discontinued and that's why I put it here at the honorable mention spot. This is a little bit harder to find than other Amen. And honestly, a lot of the Amen are hard to find in general at this point. But like I said, this one's even a little bit harder. Prices haven't gone up like too much. I think they are around the $100 mark, give or take. Really depends on who you find selling it, which is why I think I can still include it in this list because the prices are not astronomically high yet. But as far as this fragrance and what it's about and the reason it's in this video, so it is a gourmand. It's on the sweet and kind of succulent side. This is more of like a chocolatey coffee kind of fragrance. So it has dominant notes of tonka bean, coffee, cacao, and then vanilla. So as you can tell from that breakdown, very dark, very rich, very sweet. It has like almost a mocha kind of vibe. The coffee here is dominant, but it's not overly bitter. It's definitely balanced out very nicely by the vanilla and then the cacao. And honestly, the tonka bean is detectable, but it's not, in my opinion, the most dominant note. Like, I don't think Pure Tonka is the most realistic name for this fragrance. It's definitely there and it provides kind of this powderiness, but for me, I get a lot more of that coffee and then that cacao. And then there's a lot of that vanillic sweetness in the background. So this is a nice, just creamy, sweet, chocolatey coffee kind of fragrance. Really, really nice, very potent as well. I get like 10 plus hours when I wear this fragrance. So it's a beast mode gourmand at that. Just a great fragrance, one that if you're interested in getting it, you need to do it now before the prices get up like into the $200 range or even above. So a great discontinued gourmand from Mugler. Again, that was Pure Tonka. So finally cracking into the top 5, starting us off at the number 5 spot. This one is from Kilian and it's called Angel's Share. And this is a really impressive fragrance, guys. I've talked about this before. I'm not a huge fan of gourmands. However, the fragrances on this list really do impress me and I think they're amazing. This is no exception. So this fragrance, it's a Kilian fragrance. In general, Kilians are very good at making gourmands. It's kind of their thing. I'm not a huge fan of some other Kilians, but this one I really like a lot. This is, if you're after something that smells like an actual apple pie or about as close as you can get to an apple pie with a fragrance, this is it. This has dominant notes of cognac, there's praline in here, there's vanilla, and then cinnamon as the dominant notes. So the cognac here, it's not a dark, like harsh kind of booziness. It's more of like a sweet, fruity kind of booziness. And it, again, it's not very alcoholic. So I wouldn't call this like a boozy fragrance. That cognac really is more fruity. The cinnamon here is very dominant. It's a nice, dry, very realistic smelling cinnamon. The praline here just kind of gives it the sweetness and the backbone, makes this fragrance really delectable. The vanilla, again, just aids in that sweetness. There is no listed apple note, but again, you get this fruitiness from the cognac. So that blending with all the other ingredients gives you a very photorealistic apple pie vibe. Smells amazing though, and it's a beast mode fragrance as well. In general, these gourmand fragrances tend to be longer lasting just because they're generally sweet, rich, heavy notes, and this one is no exception. So again, if you want something that smells about as close as you can get to an actual apple pie, this is my recommendation. So again, at the number 5 spot, that was Kilian Angel's Share. So up next, we have a new release, or I should say a re-release. So this was a fragrance, it was very popular. It was a limited release at the time. It was so popular and so many fans told the company, hey, we want this to come back, that they actually went out of their way and they re-released it. It just got dropped, I think a month or two ago. This one is from xerjoff CMRRA and it's called Italica. And this is seriously an impressive fragrance. Like I said earlier, I'm just gonna reiterate this. I do not like gourmands. Usually they're too much for me. They give me headaches. They're just too strong and sickeningly sweet. I think this is a perfect gourmand fragrance. This thing smells so good. And like I said, there's a ton of hype behind this fragrance. I had heard about it for a long time. I was kind of hesitant because I wasn't huge into gourmands and I kind of knew that. I did get it, and then of course I loved it a lot. That's why it's in this video, but it actually did exceed my expectations. So sometimes you're let down when you hear about a fragrance and hear all this hype. It doesn't turn out to be as good as you thought. This actually exceeded my expectations. An amazing fragrance. So I do actually have a tester here. I'm gonna read you the notes. Starting us off at the top, you have saffron, milk, bergamot, mandarin orange, and then green apple. In the mid, you have vanilla, toffee, and tonka bean. And then in the base, you have white musk, sandalwood, incense, and then amber. So a decently extensive note breakdown. For me, what I get most prominently is the toffee, and that is front and center. It gives you this kind of spiced caramely vibe. The almond is very dominant. It's a nice creamy almond. Mixing with that milk accord, you know, whatever they've done to create that, it is really creamy. It smells very realistic. The saffron is in the back, again, providing a light spiciness, but it's not like a Eastern smelling kind of saffron note. Again, just provides this nice, supportive, sweet spiciness. And then again, there's sandalwood in this fragrance as well, which I'm sure just contributes to the creamy vibe of this fragrance. So if you take anything away from this, it is sweet, caramely, spicy, and creamy. Amazing smelling. This honestly smells like, if you've ever had a steamer, it's like steamed milk with usually like a caramel syrup. This smells like a spiced caramel steamer. Like it's that creamy, that sweet, and then just that realistic smelling. So a fantastic gourmand fragrance. If there's anything on this list that I would say at least just get a sample to try it, it's probably this one, because I think this is probably one of the most mass appealing gourmand fragrances. Everybody's gonna love the way you smell around you, or at least I would be willing to bet most people around you would love the way this smells. Just nothing I can say bad about this fragrance. Good longevity as well. So again, at the number 4 spot, that was xerjoff CMRRA Italica. So generally when I think of a gourmand fragrance, and I think what most people think of as being a gourmand, they're generally darker, very heavy, and very sweet. They usually smell like some kind of edible dessert. So because of that, generally they're good for the cold weather, not something you're gonna wanna wear in the high heat. And because of that, and because of the time of year that we're getting into, I decided to include a warm weather gourmand fragrance. So here at the number 3 spot, this is a nice fresh gourmand, something you're gonna be able to wear right now that's gonna fit the season perfectly. This one is from Creed, and it's called Virgin Island Water. So, like I said, this is a perfect warm weather gourmand. Not something that you would maybe think of as being a gourmand, but this is a fruity cocktail kind of fragrance. That's exactly what it smells like. So this one has dominant notes of coconut, lime, white rum, and then sugar cane. So not a huge extensive note breakdown. There are some more notes than that, but those are the really dominant ones, the ones that pop out to me the most. The coconut here, it's not a heavy, creamy coconut. A lot of the times when you see coconut featured in a fragrance, again, it comes across very creamy and almost like a heavy kind of coconut milk accord. This one's almost like coconut water. It's very light, very fresh, but it is there, and you can tell that there is some kind of coconut accord in this fragrance. There's also lime here, providing a nice citrusy touch, a little bit on the drier side. I really do like lime in fragrance, and I think it works with the coconut in this fragrance amazingly. That white rum, it's not overly alcoholic or bitter. It just kind of provides this nice maturity in the base, and then the sugarcane offsets that alcoholic note. It just makes this thing work perfectly. A very nice, well-blended fragrance. Again, perfect for the warm weather. This smells like a tropical fruity cocktail again. So if you want to smell like something that you would be drinking on a white sandy beach in Hawaii, this is the fragrance to do it. Nice and light, so you can spray this one pretty heavy, and you're not going to be nuking people out with it. Again, perfect for this time of year. A really nice, high quality, well-blended, fruity cocktail kind of gourmand fragrance. So again, at the number 3 spot, that was Creed Virgin Island Water. So next at the number 2 spot, we have another fragrance from Kilian. Like I said earlier, Kilian are really good at doing gourmand fragrances. This one is no exception, and there's a reason that this is in their top 5 most sold fragrances of all time. Again, it's from Kilian, and it is called Intoxicated. So if you like coffee and spices in your fragrances, you're really gonna dig this one a lot. This only has 4 listed notes, which are cardamom, coffee, nutmeg, and then cinnamon. Despite the short note list, that's all this fragrance needs. It smells so good and very, very high quality. The cardamom here, that's the most dominant note to my nose, but it's not like a spiced cardamom or like a spicy cardamom, I should say. It's a lot more on the richer and sweeter side. More of the spiciness from this fragrance comes from the nutmeg and then the cinnamon. It's this nice dry kind of spiciness, almost has this holiday feel to it. And we know what coffee smells like. It's this dry, kind of bitter, almost nutty smell. Very realistic. This fragrance just smells like a spiced, sweetened kind of cup of Turkish coffee. Really nice, very high quality. That's about all that can be said about this fragrance. Again, if you like coffee and spices in your fragrances, this is the Gourmand for you. So again, at the number 2 spot, that was Kilian, Intoxicated. And finally, at the number 1 spot, we have probably one of the most unique gourmands out there. Honestly, to my knowledge, there's no other fragrance that has tried to replicate what this fragrance does. This one is from Roja Parfums, and it's called Sweetie Aude. Man, guys, this smells so good, honestly. And by the way, my fridge turned on between shots, so I do apologize if you can hear that in the background. Regardless, anyway, we're gonna get back to the fragrance now. So this thing smells seriously amazing. The goal of this fragrance, according to Roja Dove, was he was trying to replicate the smell of the air that wafts out of a French patisserie where they're baking bread, maybe donuts, croissants, lots of nice, sweet, baked, buttery goods. And honestly, this gets pretty damn close, at least as close as you can get with a fragrance. So I don't necessarily get a like croissant feel. This is honestly a lot sweeter, but it does have this butteriness to it, which I think comes from the oud. Oud can come across multiple ways, of course, skanky and animalic, a lot of people know it for that, but you can get this softer kind of buttery nature from the oud as well. And that's definitely how the oud in this fragrance comes across. It's a little bit woody at the same time. You also do get some florals in here like rose, but they're just kind of there more of as a supportive role and not like an in-your-face kind of floral. To me, again, that buttery oud is really dominant here. There's cardamom here providing a nice sweetness. You get some gurjun balsam providing kind of a piney, resinous, woody feel in the background. You get some olibanum or frankincense as well, which in the dry down you get more of it. It darkens up a little bit, adds this light smokiness to it. But again, to me, this really is on that light, buttery kind of sweet side. So I think Sweetie Aude is a really good fitting name because the oud, again, it is there as kind of this buttery nature to it, but it gets a little bit darker and woodier in the dry down. So a fantastic, sweet, creamy, buttery, kind of woody fragrance. Has a little bit of a floral touch in the background. It smells absolutely amazing. Another one that I really recommend you guys check out, just get a sample of it because this is on the expensive end, but I think it's one that you will really end up liking a lot. So again, at the number 1 spot, that was Roja Parfums, Sweetie Aude. Well, there you guys go. Those are my top 5 Gourmand fragrances for 2021. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, I would really appreciate dropping a like just to show your support, and then that way more people can see my videos on YouTube. Additionally, if you want to write a comment, just letting me know your thoughts, as well as maybe some new video ideas or topics, that would be great too. And since you're down there doing all that stuff, if you have not already, if you could hit the subscribe button and then the bell notification, that would be amazing. That way you stay up to date on new videos whenever they get released going forward. But with all that out of the way, that's all I really have for you guys today. So I hope you have a good one. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, and smell great.